Hey everyone, this is Peter from Talk Android, and today we're going to take a closer look at the Huawei Mate 20 Pro that launched last week at an event in London. Before we dive into the newest member of the Mate series, we're going to take a quick glance back at the previous models. Here we have the Mate 9 from 2016 that sported the Kirin 960 processor, as well as being the first member of the Mate series to sport a dual rear camera setup. It's got a metallic finish. It still sports the 16:9 aspect ratio. It was a very good phone in its time. We really enjoyed the battery life and everything, but it is showing its age just a little. So putting that aside, we're going to move on to the Mate 10 Pro that launched in 2017. Huawei switched up the design, gave it an all-glass design with a funky strip across the rear cameras here. Once again, this had the dual rear cameras, fingerprint on the back. This did move to 18:9 aspect ratio, and it's still a very, very good phone. You can pick it up for around £400 in the UK, which makes it a bargain really for this sort of phone. Before we move on to the Mate 20 Pro, we're going to just take a glance at the P20 Pro that launched back in March. This was Huawei's first phone with a triple rear camera setup, and you can see here there are the three sensors along with the flash, and it really enhanced shooting at night. I've taken some great photos with this phone. So I have high hopes for the Mate 20 Pro with its new setup. So we finally come to the Mate 20 Pro. We have the midnight blue colour that, along with the emerald green, sports a hyper-optic design which has tiny ridges across the back. Let's just leave that there. So what does this mean? I mean, the tiny ridges add some grip and design chops to the Mate 20 Pro. As you can hear, it sounds just like a vinyl record when you scrape your fingernail across. And it also means that you can put the Mate 20 Pro down on a flat surface and it's not going to run off anywhere. This is a good thing. And if you owned a P20 Pro or perhaps one of the latest Honor devices with an all-glass design, you'll appreciate this feature. So, as you can see, there's a trio of rear cameras here, all set in a nice little square in the middle, just below the Leica branding. We've got Huawei branding at the bottom here, and everything is centrally located across the spine of the phone. On the right hand side, we've got the volume control button here, along with the power button there that is nicely accentuated in red. And it also feels like it has a tiny bit of texture there as well. On the bottom here, we've got the USB Type-C port, along with the SIM tray, which is moved up from the other side, and we've got a couple of noise cancellation holes as well. So you may have noticed the lack of a speaker chamber. That's because the speaker sound is emanates out of the USB Type-C port. It's a different feature on Huawei's part, and we can't wait to get cracking on this. So coming back to the cameras, and here we have a 40 megapixel main camera with an aperture of 1.8. We have a 20 megapixel ultra wide camera with an aperture of 2.2, and the third sensor makes up of a 8 megapixel sensor with aperture of 2.4, optical image stabilization, as well as 3 times optical zoom. So on the front, we've got a 24 megapixel camera, which is housed within the notch, which we'll get to in a moment. But first we'll talk about charging. Under the hood we've got a 4200 milliamp hour battery. It's big, it's going to last you at least a day, even with heavy usage. It has Huawei's wireless charging tech on board, so it's already a step up from last year's Mate 10 Pro. One party trick is that it does have reverse wireless charging. In fact, it's the world's first phone to do so, and this means that you can share some of the charge in your Mate 20 Pro with perhaps a friend who also owns a phone with wireless charging, and you just match them up like so, and your Mate 20 Pro will begin transferring charge. It's a nifty feature, a nice little, I'm not sure if it's a gimmick or not, but we'll see how useful it comes in the future. So something else here with charging is that the Mate 20 Pro features an upgraded superchargeability. This means that you can charge up to 70% of the 4200 milliamp hour battery in just 30 minutes, which is very impressive indeed. So there should be absolutely zero battery anxiety with this phone. So, powering the Mate 20 Pro is the brand new Kirin 980 octa-core processor that Huawei launched at IFA 2018 in Berlin earlier this year. And this chip consists of a big, medium, little configuration along with the Mali G76 GPU. There's 6 GB of RAM in the phone, as well as 128 GB of storage, and this can be augmented by another 256 GB via Huawei's new Nano memory card, which is about the same size as a Nano SIM card. Huawei says it wants the Nano SIM card or the Nano card to become an industry standard, so we'll see how far that goes in the coming months and years. So, as you can see, it's got a really nice display, lots of vibrancy. We're outdoors here and you can see it perfectly fine. It's a 6.39 inch curved OLED display with a 2K resolution, that's 3120 by 1440. There's high color saturation as well as a high contrast ratio. While the regular Mate 20 sports a teardrop design notch, the Mate 20 Pro, well, it has a regular size notch, which we've been used to seeing in models this year. There is a reason for that. It does house a ton of sensors, including the 24 megapixel selfie camera, dot projector, flood, illuminator, proximity sensor, ambient light sensor, as well as the IR sensor. So that's a ton of sensors housed there. So another trick here, you may have noticed this little icon appear just there, and that is the in-display fingerprint reader. I've taken the liberty of setting everything up for demonstration purposes, just so we don't have the hassle there. Unlike some first generation readers, the in-display sensor on the Mate 20 is quite accurate, and while it doesn't do it perfectly absolutely every time, it's more often than not. Like so. And yeah, so that's 3 times in a row. We'll see if it does it from like that. So, the demonstration has actually worked. I'm quite impressed. If it doesn't work too well, the Mate 20 Pro does have facial unlock, which works very quickly as well as you bring the phone up. Just like that. I just looked across the camera to look at the phone and it opened up immediately. So this model comes with 6 GB of RAM, 128 GB of storage. It costs €1,049 or £899, and it can be had in emerald green, midnight blue, twilight, pink gold and black. So that's a wrap. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the Talk Android YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time.